Thessalonians Chapter 1, Through the Bible. Part 4. The Creator has his sovereign right. Dr. Albert Haima of the University of Michigan said that for the past 50 years, America has been under the control of men who do not know the origin and the beginning of our nation. They do not realize that the Puritans had a tremendous impact upon this nation. One of the great truths that the Puritans stood for, and which was basic to their entire lifestyle, was the sovereignty of God. Behind election and all of life is the sovereignty of God. The Creator has a sovereign right. We need to recognize that God created the universe. I'm not concerned with how He did it, nor am I concerned with the account in Genesis. I simply want to emphasize the fact that in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Now there are those who are willing to say He created, but they deny Him the right to direct the universe. They deny Him the right to give a purpose to it. May I say to you that we live in a universe that was created by God and exists for His glory. Even in the Sermon on the Mount, the Lord Jesus Christ said, "Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." Matthew 5, verse 16. He didn't say your good works were to glorify yourself. Oh no, they are to glorify the Father in heaven. May I say especially to you, my Christian friend, that God is the Creator, and this universe exists for His glory. He is God, and beside Him there is none other. He doesn't look to anybody for advice. He is running this universe for His own purpose. He is directing it for His own glory. You and I live in a universe which is theocentric, that is, God-centered. It is not anthropocentric, man-centered, nor is it geocentric, earth-centered, but it is uranocentric, heaven-centered. This is God's universe, and He is running it His way. Something else needs to be said. God is no tyrant. God is righteous. God is just. God is holy. Everything that God does is right. You may not always think so, but I have news for you. If you do not think God is right in what He is doing, and if you think that God is not following the best plan, the news I have for you is that you are wrong. God is not wrong. You are wrong. You are the person who needs to get his thinking corrected, because if you don't, you are out of step with the universe. This universe exists for God, for His glory, and for His purpose. There is nothing going to happen that will not work out to His glory. He is in charge, and He is running this universe today. With this in mind, let's consider something else. Have you ever stopped to consider the fact that you were born? You could have been non-existent. I could have been non-existent. God did not come to me and ask, "Vernon McGee, do you want to come into existence?" I wasn't even in existence so that He could ask me. He is the one who thought of it. He is the one who is responsible for my existence. And He did not ask me whether I wanted to be male or female. He didn't ask me whether I wanted to be born in this day and age. He didn't ask me to choose my parents. He didn't ask me to decide whether my parents would be godly or whether they would be wealthy, and they were neither one. God today is running this universe because it is His. You may not like it, but that just happens to be the way it is. Now God is no tyrant. No one is chosen against His will, and no one is rejected against His will. God is right in all that He does. Paul asks, "What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God?" And he answers his own question with a strong negative. God forbid. Romans 9, verse 14. God is right in all that He does. We need to get back to that place where we recognize that we are mere creatures. Not only creatures, but we are totally depraved creatures. I know it's not popular to say this in our day. We like to scratch each other's backs and tell each other how wonderful we are. That's the reason they hand out loving cups and these knife and fork clubs are always recognizing somebody as the outstanding something or other. The human race must do that in order to bolster us up and make us think that we are great down here. The fact is that we are in rebellion against God. The fact that God even considers us as a nation is due to the early Puritans who founded this country. They are being downgraded in our day, but we have this great country because of them. Other men have labored, and we have entered into their labors. And one of the things that they emphasized was the liberty of each individual for private judgment. Even we as sinners have that right. Why? Because no other sinner has any right to make a decision for you and me. Today, you and I enjoy the freedom that we have because of our Puritan forefathers. The present generation of politicians doesn't even know what it's all about, which is the reason democracy isn't working. There is no way democracy can work unless the people understand the sovereignty of God, recognize they are His creatures, and fall down before Him. Now let me repeat what Paul has said to the Thessalonian believers, verse 4. Knowing, brethren beloved, your election of God. Maybe you don't like this verse, but this is the way it happened. And God is running this universe. Instead of joining a protest march against Him, I suggest that you fall down on your face before Him and thank Him that He has brought you into existence, and that He has given you the opportunity as a free moral agent to make a decision for Him. His invitation still stands, if any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. John 7, verse 37. Are you thirsty? Then come to Christ. He stands ready to receive you. You say you are not thirsty? Then forget it. God offers a full and free salvation to this lost world today. He says to men and women, take it or leave it. That is where our freedom comes in. We can either choose Him or reject Him. There is no middle ground. Each person has the freedom to do one or the other.